Good morning, and welcome to Virginia State News. Today is May 23rd, 1864, and I'm your anchorwoman, Melissa Sejas.
And I'm your other anchorwoman, Elizabeth Down.
For our first story today, we're turning to the fight between Union and Confederate, where Lee and his Confederate attacked Grant and his Union.
Following that, the debate of whether Broke's new long hair is a good look or just burning everyone's eyes. Afterwards,
we'll go to our weatherman.
Don't move, we'll be right back after these short messages. Welcome back. I'm your anchorwoman, Elizabeth Dow.
And I'm Melissa Sejas.
In recent news, the police have reported that soldiers from both the Confederate and Union sides were involved in what they called the Battle of the Wilderness.
It was a 2-day battle. It ended on May 7th. The casualties were endless.
Reports show that the Union had an immense amount of soldiers. Grant's army had about 100,895 members, while Lee's army had 61,025. The casualties added up to 28,699 men.
Obviously, the count would have been lower if women were involved. Am I right?
I agree.
Now, the question is, why the fight?
The Confederates and the Union were having problems for a while. The two of them made up a country, but it wasn't until 3 years ago did the country become separated after the South seceded and called themselves the Confederate. There were high tensions between the two, and after conflicting opinions on slavery and central government, the Confederates found that the only solution would be seceding from the Union. However, the Union saw seceding as an act of betrayal, and now the two are fighting in what's known as the Civil War.
Sounds like a clingy boyfriend that could not deal with the breakup. Am I right? This battle is very important. It is actually the first fight between the two generals Ulysses S. Grant and Robert E. Lee. However, it is obviously not the last. 2 days ago, the Battle of Spotsylvania Courthouse ended with the results being inconclusive.
Yes, Battle of the Bloody Ankle. We have been calling it this due to it being one of the bloodiest assaults in the war by General Grant. This was actually a result of the Battle of the Wilderness.
We have Sahil Faraz with the weather. How's the weather looking out there?
Thanks, Melissa. Well, the weather here in the state of Virginia is looking to be in the 90s, but temperature as high as 95 and as low as 84. Roads are closed off in Spotsylvania County and Orange County due to the battle, so if you're thinking of going there, think again. The torturous heat, along with the fighting of the two sides, caused the dry woods to catch fire, and many wounded men perished into the flames. Some soldiers, worried by the fight and weather, collapsed on the subsequent march to the Spotsylvania Courthouse. Grant's army crossed the Rapidan River and approached the Wilderness Tavern near the Wilderness of Spotsylvania. Grant did not want to fight in the wilderness, but in an open ground south of it. Lee had ordered his men to intercept the Union in the wilderness. The Union massively outnumbered the Confederates in soldiers and artillery. The tangled wood would eliminate Grant's advantage in artillery, and the difficult terrain would cause confusion amongst the soldiers. After 2 days of fighting, Grant had his men move southward to the Spotsylvania Courthouse, which would give the Union an advantage ground. However, Lee's army had arrived there earlier, and that is when the Battle of the Spotsylvania, or Battle of the Bloody Ankle, started, the day after the Battle of the Wilderness ended.
Thanks, Sahil. That really gave us a better look on the Battle of the Wilderness.
I agree. It was very informative. Now, why do you think Grant's plan failed?
I think it was George Meade's fault. Grant's plan was based on speed, so they should have carried light and get to their destination quickly. But Meade's supply train was carrying so many things, like 4,300 wagons, 835 ambulances, and a bunch of cattle for slaughter. He wanted to camp out overnight so that the train could catch up. So they wasted time doing that, and so Lee was able to plan out an attack on them in the wilderness.
I agree. Now let's go to Sahil, who is subbing our usual on-scene reporter.
Hey guys, I'm at the outside of the wilderness of Spotsylvania, and right next to me I have a Confederate soldier who fought specifically in that battle. Soldier, will you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, I am John Jackson, serving under General Robert E. Lee.
Why are you fighting in this war?
I wish to protect state sovereignty. I also wish to expand slavery. I do not like being told by the Union that slaves are people. They are property, and I should not be told what to do with my property. I also wish to fix the economy. The northern people wish to put tax on imports that we need. They are a problem. We need to separate.
And now, to my right, I have a soldier from the Union who also fought in the Battle of the Wilderness. Union soldier, will you please introduce yourself?
I am Charles Scott, serving under General George G. Meade and Lieutenant General Ulysses S. Grant.
Okay, and why are you fighting in this battle?
I wish to see the country as a whole once more. I also agree with President Lincoln. Slavery should be illegal. It is not right to make people as servants.
Interesting. All right, well, thank you very much.
I'm Elizabeth Dow.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Sawhill.
Wow, Sahil, you're everywhere today.
I know. First I was doing the weather, then I was a reporter at Pennsylvania, and now I'm at the studio.
You're not hiding any superpowers, are you?
Now, let's do a little review about the Battle of the Wilderness.
It was a 2-day battle between May 5th to May 7th in 1864 in Spotsylvania County and Orange County, Virginia. It was the first battle between Grant and Lee.
Grant didn't want to fight in the wilderness, but in an open ground, which would give more advantage to the Union to their massive amounts of soldier and artillery. But Lee knew that and therefore intercepted them so that they could fight in the wilderness.
It was inconclusive. The battle actually continued at the Battle of Spotsylvania, also known as the Battle of the Bloody Angle.
We right back to discuss Broke's new hairdo. Is the long hair like a rebellious rocker, or just a bad version of Benjamin Franklin? I'm Elizabeth Doe.
I'm Melissa. Say hi.
And I'm Saul for us. We'll be right back after these short messages.
The Union marches south while Lee watches. Past the Rapidan River. The Battle of Wilderness occurs in Spotsylvania. The battle was inconclusive. It was the first battle between Grant and Lee. There were many casualties.
There was no clear winner, but there were some losers. Some went home for dinner, some can go because their future was over. But it was just a battle, there was still a war. Men were being used as cattle, and some will never even walk out the door. Confederates, why have slaves? It's cruel and mean. You'll suffer in your graves. Union, why so controlling? You should have been so rude, you should have been more consoling. Battle of Wilderness, the fight between Lee and Grant, conflict of bitterness. Woods filled with plants, casualties were high. What's the point? No tears from the sky, it was all disappointment. Known as the first conflict between the two leaders, are they war addicts? On the war were bleeders, there was no clear winner, but there were some losers, some went home for dinner. Some couldn't even go because their future was over. It was just a battle, but it's still a war. Men were being used as cattle, and some will never even walk out the door.